A while ago I made a video about social mobility, and a lot of people in the comments objected to it quite strongly, and in fact I lost lots of subscribers that day. So possibly I shouldn't be making this, which is a follow-up to that video. But when I have an opinion, I'm quite happy to share it. This does not, by the way, mean that I have an opinion on everything. There are lots of things I do not have a formed opinion about. Yes, even some medieval weapons, I do not have a formed opinion about them, and so I won't be making a video about them soon. But the principal objection that people had, do you know what? I think I'm going to do this in high definition, damn it. So there you go, widescreen, high definition. Yeah, the objection that people had was that my argument only worked if one accepted a ridiculous idea, which is that children are like their parents. Children are like their parents. Now in Britain, there are two words, breeding and breeding. These are quite different words. They're spelt the same, but their meaning is very different. Breeding refers to the crossing of different strains of plant, perhaps, or animal to create new strains. This may happen naturally, or it may be guided by man. So, for instance, if you want to breed a particularly silly shaped dog, you can get two normal shaped dogs and then get the silliest of their offspring and breed those together and choose the silliest of their offspring until after a while you have a completely ludicrous shaped dog. Or you can breed taller wheat or so forth. If you're a race horse breeder and you want to win lots of races, then you will be prepared to pay very large amounts of money for the sperm of a particularly successful stud, because you know that it's going to make your next generation of horses go a little bit faster. Well, do you know what? There's another word, breeding, which refers to something completely different. You see, people say breeding like that with a ridiculous heavy irony, just to make it very clear to the listener that they don't subscribe to the ridiculous idea that humans are like their parents, because of course breeding has no effect whatsoever on humans. Yes, we all know that it affects all plants and all animals, but humans are completely outside of nature, and breeding has no effect on humans, they would contend. Well, at least they would contend publicly. I can't believe that any sane person actually believes this. Have you noticed that there aren't very many blonde Iranians, but there are quite a lot of blonde Swedes? And this is the case generation after generation. It's almost as though the children take after their parents. Yes, we're reasonably happy to say, oh, yeah, with hair colour. Yes, obviously with hair colour, but not any other traits, be they physical or mental. No. And studies that show that, for instance, the children of sporting champions are more likely themselves to turn out to be sporting champions. These are just evil, misguided, daft. Just ignore those. Interestingly, these studies show that the children don't just succeed in their chosen sphere of competition more, but it's also not the same necessarily as their parents. So, a ping pong playing couple of champions, they marry and they produce champions, but those champions are sailing champions or chess champions, some other sort of champions, but they've inherited the determination, the competitive spirit, perhaps the physique and so forth, to become champions in some field or other. Well, yes, obviously, children are like their parents. Child, a bit like parents. Shock is not going to be a headline in your local paper soon, because this doesn't surprise anyone. Breeding does affect humans.